Hello everybody, welcome back to the Build the Enterprise D series here on the channel, the series in which I'm building up the Eaglemoss Hero Collector Enterprise D stage by stage every video. So before we start, I just want to show that I've made good on a promise made a good few videos ago to finally get a desk mat. It isn't a personalised one like I was planning on getting, it was just one that kind of took my fancy when I was browsing Dekai Anime. Dekai Anime is a website that I've been using. I should mention this isn't sponsored, by the way, before anything. But it's a website I've been using. I've used it a couple of times now to get some merch and also some various food and drink goodies from Japan, and it seems really good so far. That's where I got this from. I've had a few other things from them, so I just thought I'd make mention of that. It's a lovely little desk mat, very soft, very patterned, very padded, and it features my favourite Evangelion character. Well, actually, my favourite Evangelion character is the JL-Soryu from the original series. This is Shikanami from the new theatrical editions. But this video is not about Evangelion, this video is about Star Trek. Mainly, issue 10 of the Enterprise D. Can you believe that we are on to issue 10 already? It's, on average about one issue a month, so we've been at this for about 10 months or so. I can't remember off the top of my head when the first video went out, but, to be here already, it's weird. So we'll quickly go over what we're going to do in this video, but we've got stages 35, 36, 37 and 38. So what I'll do, I'll quickly go through them all. Stage 35, we're going to start to build up the other side of the Cobra head, and we're going to build another segment of the saucer. 36, more of the Cobra head and more of the saucer. 37, more of the saucer. And 38, a little bit more saucer and another component for the Cobra head. So we're going to start to see all of this stuff, just sort of come together a bit more in terms of the battle section, and on the saucer itself we're going to have a bit more nice cable management, a few more things plugged into that PCB I expect, and just sort of keep expanding it. So let's delve straight into it with stage 35. So let's have a look at what it says. In this stage, your battle section power switch finds a discrete home in the ventral neck section, and another segment of the saucer comes together. So what we want to do, I'm trying to get a little bit quicker when it comes around to doing this sort of stuff, not as much preamble, because I kind of feel I waste a bit too much time doing the preamble in some videos. But what we want to do, we want to get our neck segment as depicted there, and we'll place it like that, and we want to go get the battle section. Our lovely battle section, which is located here. You can kind of see how that is coming along. That's coming along really nicely. That's what we did in the last video, so we've got all of this side done now. And now, of course, we want to build up this side. So what we've got take your battle section build and position the on-off switch on the right ventral neck. 35E as shown. Secure the switch with 2 BP screws. You should now be able to operate the switch through the slot in the panel. Now I was actually wondering about this a short while ago, how this was gonna, how we were gonna tuck away the switch and how it was gonna be, visible. I've got the same question about the saucer as well. So what we want to do, we want to take some BP switches, some screws. One of my friends who watches these videos told me that they've got a drinking game now every time I say the names of a screw, so it's like take a shot every time I say BP screw or something, so I'm going to keep saying BP screw so that he gets absolutely paralytic. Sorry about that. So here we go, we want to just pop. Let's get that across. I actually have made a little bit of mistakes. I think I should have turned on the light in here. It's a bit of a grey day today in old Scotland. So Okay, there we go. So that is in now. So what we're going to do is we are just going to I really should have switched on the overhead light, or at least the light on the phone itself. That one's in. Brilliant. And the other one is just about to go in as well. So how is everybody doing? What's everyone been up to since the last video? Everyone doing well? I'm trying to think. My problem is by the time these videos go out, what I've actually been doing changes quite rapidly. So, yeah. Oh, there we go. So that is done now. We can switch that on and off via the side panel. That's brilliant. I'm trying to think what I've been doing since I recorded the last video, because, like I said, there's usually a couple of weeks between these going out, but I've been busy with work, as always. You'll probably already have seen this, but I actually posted my first video, started recording my first video with me in front of the camera, which was very, very, it was kind of scary to record it because I didn't know how it would turn out, but I really liked doing that, and I'm keen to do more. Let's just turn the page and get on to the next section. So I think we're done with the battle section for the moment. Now we are going to be building up another deck panel, it looks like. So that was pretty simple. Yeah, I recorded my first video in person. It was a review of the final Evangelion movie. Which I kind of felt I needed to do the review sort of as me in front of the camera to really convey my feelings about it. And I've sort of thought I'd like to do more videos in front of the camera, especially when it comes to sort of like reviews or talking about things I like. It allows me to get my passions across a bit more. I very recently popped up a video of me playing all of the PS1 WWF games. Many people, younger people probably know it as WWE now. But not to get too into it, I'm a huge wrestling fan, have been all my life. It's one of my big kind of passions outside of Star Trek and Evangelion. So I wanted to kind of do some videos about it, and I recorded like a bit of an intro talking about my introduction to wrestling, but it was all behind the camera, and there's a little bit of like, you know, preamble sort of talking without any sort of footage in the background. I thought, you know, looking back on it, I'm proud of that video, I really, really am, and I'd love for people to check it out. But I kind of felt that it would have been better if part of it was me in front of the camera, then cut into the game footage, then, you know, conclusions with me in front of the camera again, like maybe swapping between it. So I might look at doing more things in front of the camera. What that means for these videos is that these will probably still be presented as they are, because I don't really have the setup to do a multi-angle thing, and I don't really see the point of popping myself in front of the camera for these, because I'm kind of a big part of these is demonstrating what I'm doing. Speaking of which, what I'm doing right now is building up another deck panel, as we can see there. So this one shouldn't take too long. But what we're going to do, we're going to just quickly build this up. We've got our tweezers, we've got our screwdriver there. Got lots of, we've got BM screws here. We need EM screws, actually. And yes, I should really have turned on the light. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4 black screws. Not screws, windows. So hopefully you can just kind of see what I'm doing here. I've done this so many times in so many of the videos. Right now it's kind of becoming a little bit second nature, I imagine. But we use the tweezers to pop them in there. Use that to pop them in there. we make a mistake on that one. And then we get the tweezers to pop them in. Wait. We get the tweezers to pop them in here. And then we have 1, 2, and 3. So 3 transparent light, windows, lights. 1, 2, and 3. So these are for like the middle row of the Enterprise. So what we want to do now is we want to get our lone LED. It says there, retrieve your deck panel. Okay. Retrieve your deck panel U302 assembly from stage 33 and place it across the windows of the panel. Okay, I see. Right, so what I'm going to quickly do is, those panels are right next to me. I'm going to do a quick jump cut, because not only do I want to sort out, well, not only do I want to grab that, I also want to sort out the lighting here. So, bear with me just a second. Okay, so we are back. We got the lighting situation sorted out, and we're ready to progress with the build. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the U302 panel, as located here, and we are going to attach it to the panel that we've just started to build up. So we're going to move some stuff out of the way. We're going to find the EM screws as well, which are right here. We're going to prepare ourselves in advance for this. So yeah, I had to go for a couple of reasons there. One is because I've moved all of these windows out of the way again, because I've been moving stuff around. Yeah, one was sort of the lighting situation. The other is that I forgot to take a drink or have one nearby while I was doing the video, and I kind of realised that should be rectified. Okay, let's move that there, let's move that there. Can we still see that? We can indeed. It's what we want, isn't it? So, we want to get the LED. Insert the bulb at the end of the yellow and black cable into the slot at the top of the assembly as shown, then secure it using the 2 EM screws. So we want to take that, want to go woo. I'm feeling in a really good mood today, so apologies in advance for that. You know, some of the things I say are a little bit weird. Well, not weird as such, but if I'm just a little bit more, sound a little bit more hyper than usual. And just in a... feeling positive today. And I think sometimes there's not enough positivity online. And so it's something I always set out to do when it came to doing this sort of YouTube-y stuff. Is there's so many, like, angry... And I'm kind of using quotation marks around the word angry there. There's so many people on YouTube and on the internet who thrive on being negative and make it sort of, this is what we're all about. This is, you know, this is sort of like our personality, our character. And I want to say, you know, I guess what I'm trying to say is there's a fine line between criticising something and just being negative a part of who you are, and it's always fair to criticise things. I don't think anything should be without criticism. Nothing's beyond criticism. Nothing is beyond criticism as such, but it's how you portray yourself. And there's some people out there who just will go into everything finding reasons to criticise it, or just finding reasons to be negative and make that the whole thing, you know, the shouty, outragey thing. And I never wanted to ever do that. I always wanted to be sort of fairly honest about my opinions and such, and say if I didn't like something, I don't like it, because you don't like everything. And even when it comes to the things I do love, I want to find things to criticise, or, well, I don't want to find things to criticise, but I will find things to criticise. This is such a big thing for me as being a wrestling fan as such, because there's always plenty to criticise when it comes to the wrestling. But I always kind of wanted to, if I was going to criticise something, I always wanted to come across in the right way, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. So there we go there. I'm not going to flip that over because that'll knock these out. But we've got another section built up there, so that'll be quite cool to place on there. saucer there. Speaking of the saucer, now we want deck panel U303. We want to pop it onto the saucer. So let me just find that. This is the exciting part of the video where I start to rummage about a bit. But yes, we want the saucer itself. So what we want to do is... I want to move that out of the way. We want to scoop this from underneath it and place that neatly on the new desk mat. So, retrieve it, thread the deck panel lights cables through a saucer skeleton, then position the assembly on the larger structure as shown before securing it with the DP screws. Right. So what we are looking at here is we're looking at attaching it here. So yeah, this will go, that goes under like that. It's always so difficult sometimes to gauge this kind of thing. And then this should come under like that, yeah. And of course, naturally, because this is the way it is, that's going to need a little bit of unscrewing to pop that LED under. It's always a problem, and I've noticed a few other people talking about this. Sometimes the LEDs and that are a little bit fiddly to get to grips with. It's very much a case of you just kind of have to read it a couple of times, which I appreciate doesn't always make for the most engrossing of videos. My apologies there for the awkward kind of jump cut. I was just kind of like, I had to go step away for a moment to really understand where these cables were going. It was a little bit confusing, as you can imagine. But we've got it now. We've got it absolutely sorted. So what we need to do now is use some DP screws to screw this in. So we've got these here. So that can just sit down for now because we've actually threaded that through correctly. So one thing about this that I've mentioned before is I think sometimes just these stages, especially figuring out the initial sort of threading of the cables, can be just a little bit tricky. You've got to kind of really read over it again and again. But no, we're there, right. So there we go. Right, they're screwed in now. That is absolutely fine. So the next stage, now that that is done, so to take the bit that we've just made, and we are going to pop that in. Take the L-shaped deck panel, okay, and thread the cables through as shown. Fit the unassigned, okay. So this one, I anticipate, is going to be quite a tricky one. So we need we need a whole variety of screws for this one. So let me just make sure I am completely prepared for it. So we're taking this, we want to touch it there. So that is going to go through like this. And what we want to do, we want to grab that. And that is going to go under this one, like so. Is that right? No, that is not right. I see. What we want is for that one to go through here like that. Okay. Then this one will come down onto that panel like this. And then it should theoretically And the words theoretically are always sort of dangerous ones. It should just line up very, very neatly, like this. And it feels like it has done, actually. It does feel like that has lined up nicely. Whether it has done or not, we will find out in a second. What we need to do now is screw in a lot of screws. So let's start with the DP screws, because we've got them readily to hand. Okay, so we've got one in there. That's pulled it flush. Right, we've got, I can feel the shuttlecraft, the exit bays, sorry, the escape pods, and they feel fine. So let's flip that over. Oh yeah, look at that, that's a lot better. So we've still got a bit of work to do though, to get all of this fully lined up. So let's just keep at it, shall we? So what have we got next? We've done them ones. Now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 BM screws. I think I can spy one potential issue here, and that's just to do with the threading of one of the cables. I think this one feels like it's just a little bit like not in properly, or it should have been threaded through a little bit more, but we'll see how it all looks at the end. For now, let's focus on the core task of just getting these things flush, shall we? In fact, I'm pretty sure, yeah, I'm pretty sure I can tell straight away that that's not going to sit right. But what I can do, I can always fix that. I'll fix that off camera. I could be wrong, actually. Doesn't look like it's too bad. There we go, that's another one in. Got 3 more to go. Wherever my chin, I think my chin keeps scratching the microphone because I keep dipping my face down low. And we got one more now. Okay, there we go, that's them all in. So, let's flip it over and take a look. Oh, that looks alright. Look at that. And we're going around the other side of the Enterprise. So, yeah, I think that the screw maybe needs a little bit of extra tightening along there. Or at least the cable needs just a little bit of movement, but that doesn't seem too bad. Okay, so that's the end of that stage. So I'll see you again in a moment for stage 36. Welcome back. We're going on to stage 36 now. So we're going to get the battle section back again. So with this one, The first thing we want to do is start by positioning the right ventral neck reflector panel on the right ventral neck panel as shown. Then we insert the 2 bulbs from one set of the panel lights as shown and secure them with AP screws. So I'm just going to prep in advance for this one. Now we've got our AP screws. Pop 2 of them out and prepare the screwdriver with them. So then what we want to do is, I actually want to position myself a bit more closer to the desk. I seem to be sitting quite far out today for some reason, not my usual kind of position for things. So we've got the reflector panel there. And what we want to do is pop that in like that. Then we want to get our LEDs. Position them like that. Some of these stages for inserting the LEDs are quite, well, as you can see, very awkward. It kind of feels like you want to be attaching the, like popping the LED in there before you actually even start to touch this. And then of course you've got the restricted movement brought on by keeping this thing plugged into the you know, because we've got it plugged into that, you got some limited movement there. So what we kind of want to do is we want to sort of make sure we are covering all of our bases as such. There we go, right, that is in, I hope. Yeah, that's in. So then we take our first AP screw, just screw that down into here. Okay, that's made things a bit easier. That's actually tightened it in now. Then we want to take our second AP screw. So one thing that concerns me about this part is that I know when it comes to fitting that final piece on here, it is going to be so delightfully awkward. I can already see just putting this into this bit is going to be pretty awkward, but we will get there. So the next thing we want to do, we want to plug the panel light into the PCB and also use a sticker to secure the bulb closest to the on-off switch. So we've got our little stickers there. And what we just want to do, for some reason that sticker didn't want to come off properly. We just want to secure it down like that. Nice and easy done. So the next step is to plug this into the little PCB. And as you can see, I don't have a lot of room with which to do that. You know, so thanks for that. Kind of feels like it would have been better to plug it into the PCB first. But here goes nothing, eh? Let's pull that up so I can actually get a look at it. It helps if I'm putting it in the right way, doesn't it, really? Oh, that is in. Brilliant. That's in. That is in. So what we're going to do very quickly before, just to double check. There you go. That is now in. So we've got all of the LEDs connected to the PCB now. Perfect. Now for the next fiddly part of this, which isn't too bad, but what we want to do, we want to take this really, really small piece here. I keep brushing the mic, I'm very aware of that. So take the docking alignment light, noting its one sloped end, and slot this end into the equally shaped round hole in the rear left of the battle section. So there's one sloped bit here. Not that you can really see it, but it's kind of the top one up at the top there. So we want to pop this very, very neatly into the hole there. So you can feel that coming out the other end. And then what we want to do, we want to make sure these are well out of the way, I presume. Because then the next step is going to be to fit this onto here. So what I'm going to do, I think I'm actually going to jump cut just while I figure this out, because there's going to be a lot of cable management and probably a lot of me just going back and forth several times. So bear with me just a second, I'll come back to you when this is on. Okay, so welcome back, we're almost there. We've actually got the panel on and it sits nice and flush. We've got all the cables underneath out of the way. So we're just putting the final screws on to it. So we've got one more BM screw to go. Then we've got two AP screws for the back of it. So yeah, the cables did prove to be a little bit of a nightmare, but now we've got them all plugged in. So that's going to be maybe not too bad going forward, because they're all kind of like tucked neatly underneath here. So I kind of suspect going forward for the next bit shouldn't be too bad. We'll wait and see though. And we've got the AP screws for the back of it. And then after this we've got another deck panel to build. One of the really interesting things for me building this has, I guess, just kind of been seeing how these various components of the Enterprise are built up and sort of separated and such. But there we go, so that's that done. We can turn it on now, and you can see that we've got red on one side and kind of bluish green on the other. And all the lights light up on that side. All the lights work on here. And we're on this, well, we've nearly done we've done a third of this section. So I will turn that off. It's really nice to have the switch just not hanging precariously as well. But yeah, that is really almost there. Just 2 bits left for that. But I suspect they will not be easy. So let's grab the rest of stage 36. And what we've got here, you've seen it all before, seen it in this video earlier on as well. It's another deck panel. This is a bit more curvy. So I'll fling that down onto the ground. And we'll start building this up again. So we want 7 clear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 6 dark. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this is the point in the video where I ask once again, just while we're doing something a little bit more monotonous I suppose, How's everyone else's build coming along? Those of you that have been waiting for more parts to come, have you started building yet? Or are you still waiting? Those of you who've been building from the beginning, how did yours go? Or how is yours going? Have you reached this stage yet yourself? How did you find it? What's been the toughest stage for you so far? I'm trying to think what's been the toughest one for me so far. I think that stage, was it 34 or 32? Something like that, around one of the early 30s. That middle deck panel that caused me like a week's worth of just sort of, it's one where I had to kind of step away from it for a short amount of time. That's probably been one of the toughest. I think just sort of figuring out the little tips and tricks to it when I started. That was quite a tough one, like figuring out how to put the windows in. That was quite, the initial sort of starting stage was quite a tough one. But I think putting the first sets of deck panels on the saucer, that was quite tough. I've enjoyed the battle section. That hasn't really been too difficult. But yeah, I guess it's just sort of, with the deck panels like what I'm doing now, it's been a lot of confidence and learning that I think these parts are a bit more durable than I initially expected them to be. It's being very gingerly when I picked them up at the start, especially the LEDs. It was like, oh my god, what if I break them? But then it's just kind of like, well, you won't, because that's what they're made for. I don't know why my phone keeps doing that. The light keeps dipping off and on. But no, as always, very, very keen to hear about how everyone else's experience has been with this. Sort of want to see, has anyone actually, I doubt you'd be watching this if you had done, but have you actually stopped doing it at all? If so, why? Did you just not have time? Was it too expensive? That's one thing I do keep coming back to with this one. Whenever I talk about it with people, I always find myself having to go for that thing of, well, it is quite a bit of money, but I'm enjoying it. And I feel like you shouldn't have to justify yourself if what you're doing is fun. I mean, you can acknowledge something might be pricey, but you shouldn't have to keep, explaining yourself. If you're enjoying it and you're kind of being careful, I guess financially, I guess is the right term to use. As long as you're not like putting yourself in debt or anything, you shouldn't have to justify what you enjoy. That's something that I kind of do struggle with a little bit sometimes, is sort of making a decision for myself and then feeling I have to justify it. And it's like, well, what's wrong with just doing something because you enjoy it? Again, within reason. So there we go, we've got the LEDs on. We've got the back panel nearly ready there. We need our 4DM screws. God, I've screwed that up, haven't I? 1, that's 2 out, 3, and 4. Okay, so let's pop these in. One. It's going well today. Don't know what's happening to me today. I can't seem to work a screwdriver properly. That's 3. And then we have number 4. There you go. That's another deck panel complete. That's the end of stage 36. Actually, it's not a deck panel complete at all, I'm lying. I've got one more thing left to pop in. Let's make sure that is fully down. Got one more thing left to put in. Totally missed that. That's in. There you go. Okay, another deck panel complete. Stage 36 complete. Pretty simple stage. That was a little bit fiddly, but that's kind of what we expect. It's only going to get fiddlier as we go on, I feel, with that one. So let's move on to stage 37. Hi everybody, James here with Captain Jean-Luc Picard. Just dropping in at the end of this video to let you know kind of why we've split this up into 2 stages rather than the 4 as promised. So basically when I recorded all of these stages together, I kind of lost track of time a little bit, and I had about an hour and a half's worth of footage. Now, as you've probably seen through the video, there's quite a lot of jump cuts and edits. I tried to edit it down as much as I could, but I still ended up with about an hour's worth of footage. I didn't really feel it was a good idea to put an hour-long video up showing all 4 stages. So I had a look at the 4 stages and I saw we had a short stage, a long stage, and a short stage and a long stage. So I thought what I'd do is I'd release 35, 36 and then 37, 38, so we've got the 2 videos. So with that said, I just thought I'd record a little bit of an outro for this one. Just wanted to say, thank you very much for watching the video. Please do support in any way you can, the whole liking, the sharing, the comments. It really does help. It's a very, very small channel here. We don't get many views for stuff, but every view does count, every comment counts, every like counts, every share counts. It does help these things get, propagated more, the whole algorithm and all that. And I don't really, I'm never going to be one who's going to start making thumbnails and that sort of thing to try and pull people in. I just kind of want to present myself as is. So the best thing, if you ever do want to support, is just sharing the videos and just saying, hey, check out this guy. He has a figure of Picard and acts kind of awkward at times. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Picard out.